I'm RJ Umberger, and you're watching Nasty Knuckles.
You're listening to Nasty Knuckles, the Hockey Outlaws podcast, with your hosts, Derek Nasty Settlemyre and former Philadelphia Flyer enforcer Riley Cote, as they go behind the scenes with your favorite NHL players. Time to face off.
All right, welcome back. What's happening, Nasty?
What's up, Regarelia?
Found you.
You found me. Look, you're in the Terradome there. It looked like Mad Max, Tina Turner there running around singing a song.
Something like that.
You don't even know what I'm talking. You're too young. You don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, how was your trip, bud?
It was
You
pretty.
got stuck in the mudsy?
I got stuck in the desert a couple times, two separate times.
I lose my mind. Got stuck out there.
Yeah, no, it was actually an amazing experience outside of the elements there that eventually came and
Looked pretty
threw
cool,
some
actually.
first world adversity at us. But
I'll
it
tell
was
you
fun,
what,
man.
I'm wondering, like, I saw some of the videos, you sent me, and do you think there was anyone that were sober?
Probably
Because I
not.
saw a lot of lights, and I'm just thinking the whole mushroom and maybe other things were involved.
Yeah,
Not with you, but
yeah, of course
with
not. No,
others.
there might have been some activity.
I didn't.
going on
I've been seeing these videos on Instagram with these people like dancing like out of control because their obviously mind is on something. And I was just waiting for one of those where this guy's just like
Shaking
the
to
fastest
relief,
dance you've ever seen. It makes me laugh when I see those. But anyway, I'm glad you made it back out of the mud.
Yeah, it was quite the experience, Nas. I think you should make the trek next year. And
I'm not good in the desert.
no, you
I'm not
seem
good
like a
without
desert type of guy.
electricity.
Well, we
And
had
what-
some of
you
that.
had it a little bit, but
You did.
I need can I watch Sports Center at night like as I'm shutting her down or?
You probably could turn that on.
Well, I
and
can do it on my
find a couple
phone,
channels
actually.
there too. No, there's no reception.
There's no reception?
No.
Is that why our messages weren't getting through?
100%
Hey, we've
why.
got people in studio waiting, and where are you? You're stuck in the mud.
I was stuck on my bike cruising the playa.
You were cruising around.
Yeah, it was quite the event, Nas.
Yes,
yeah,
it
for
looked
sure.
really cool, honestly.
Yeah, so we're back.
Glad to
We're
have you. Yeah,
back.
back.
Rookie
Season
camps
is
rolling.
really
Camp is
starting.
Yeah, we're back officially. It's
Yeah.
no more of this putting around and waiting for you to wake
Nice
up.
for a
and-
little vacay, though.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Need a little break.
Not a whole lot going on in the
You
off
say you
season.
recharge the batteries a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Down with the earth.
That's it.
You do that a lot.
No, I do that every day.
We got to do it. We got two guys in the studio today that both need haircuts and a shave. Well, let's make it 3. 1, 2, 3. The triumvirate.
What's wrong with this bad boy?
You guys need to clean it up.
Think so?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Let's get a
I like
poll.
giving
Let's get a poll going.
We should. Do you guys got to pose? I get to take the picky. Debo, they're coming after you right away. The chicks love that baby face. You got to shave that, man.
Let's do a.
Dude, at that party, there was like 18 chicks lined up for a picture with Deebs, and they wanted the baby face. Get back to the baby face.
The babyface assassin.
He is. This guy is the quiet killer, baby. You look like Aaron Asham over there. If you shave it up, you and Ash, they look like
Yeah,
brothers.
that's right. Ash. He was
You're
the
a little
babyface
tougher
assassin.
than Ash, but definitely better looking. I mean, when you have that many chicks going, yeah, I love it. He didn't say a word. I just said all that. And he didn't say one word.
Just taking it in. He's like, yeah, you're right. He's like, yeah,
I
you're
wish
right.
you guys could see him. He's just like, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
We got
hey,
you.
Hockey.
Hockey. What's going on?
What do you think about the Columbus Blue Jackets? And how are they going to make up?
It's a
Poor
tough start.
Babs, hey?
Tough start to the org.
What start?
Tough start to
Did you even
training.
get a start?
Didn't even get training camp going. Maybe rookie
Oh,
camp there.
my God.
Yeah, that's that was unexpected. I didn't see that one coming.
You didn't? I didn't
No,
know.
I mean, I
like,
thought
it
there
would
was gonna be
that.
some-
I didn't think he could change. You know, like I really didn't. Did you
Change
think the guy
for
could
the
change?
worse, or
Wait, it sounds like it sounds like he's done this before with the pictures.
has a coach ever been fired before he started? Has that ever happened?
Ooh, that's a great point. I'm surprised Baller didn't
I mean,
know
that's
that.
that's impressive.
That's hard to do.
It's hard to do. There's only a few things you can do for that to happen.
Man, like It's funny because you hear Boone when he talked about it, Boone Jenner, he made it seem like it really wasn't that big a deal, but then I guess some of the kids were like, it wasn't all your family. It was like, just give me your phone.
I'm sure each individual player was a different situation. I mean, maybe some guys, he didn't even ask for the phone, but maybe for some of the younger guys, it was a little bit more intrusive, and maybe for Boone, it was maybe more respectful, and let me see some wedding pics, but like, if it is, well, it sounds like it's truthful. I mean, some of these allegations, for sure, it wouldn't have gone the way it did if it hadn't been truthful. At least some of them. Like it's wrong. I mean, that's fucked up.
I mean,
do we really crossing that line?
Do we really need to do that to coach a hockey team? I mean,
well, let's just show.
How about just sit down and tell me about your family?
Well, that's it, right? It just shows you that he really hasn't evolved, and it's still that fear-based coaching. It's that bullying and just dictatorship a bit, right? I mean, because like, what are you looking for? Like, I mean, is it something to hold over the player's head down the road?
Yeah, that's actually a great. I don't think anyone else said that. That's.
I mean, what is the purpose of that? Yeah, you can learn a lot about someone's phone. Yeah, but there's also a privacy component to this. But then, like, what if you find something and then what? Like, that player shits the bed 2 months down the road.
Exactly.
It's like,
can you imagine if they pulled yours up?
Oh, jeez. A lot of buds.
Jail time.
Yeah, right.
We're talking jail time, boys. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it just why start that way?
I don't know. Why
start that way?
Unnecessary, but yeah, I mean, I expected this for some shenanigans to arise, like they always do.
Just not that quick.
Just not that quick and not that aggressive.
Before we've even started training camp.
Oh man, that thing got carried away pretty quickly.
It makes me laugh listening to our good buddy Kami.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, what happened to him though? Like, can you blame him for not ever like forgiving him or whatever? I don't know if that's even the word, but like when you mess with someone like that, but there was warnings, man. I mean, and you could say you've changed all you want, but then you walk right in and start. And we had heard a couple stories, but people can't really put the name out there, but that he kind of started with the coaches a little bit, like it's my way, or that's from what we heard from pretty good sources. But oh well, he's gone, and he stepped down himself.
Yeah,
so.
Well, he's forced to, right? I mean, but taking it a step further, it's like with the rap he has, and the complaints that have come out from different teams and players, and all the good coaches that are available. Like, why Babs? Like, like, is there not a newer age, more progressive, better character guy you could pluck?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know,
man.
Well,
it sounds like the players are happy with Pascal Vincent being named that guy. And someone had told me yesterday on the phone with their organization that he had been passed over a couple times. So, he stuck around and now he's got the job. And, hopefully they have a good start for him, because it's, like I saw Biz talking last night too. I think it was Biz. Just leave the players alone now. This is over. Let them start camp. Exactly. I mean, it's tough to do that because it's pretty big news. Yeah. Right. But anyway. Yeah. Didn't last long. We didn't even get to see a game.
Just a little bump in the road.
Little bump. See. Where's Fro? Yeah, Where's Fro?
Whose Columbus career was better, Babs or Jeff Carter?
Well, Jeff's was longer. he played games.
He dipped a toe in.
He dipped a toe, and he didn't like the temperature. It was too hot.
Babs didn't even get into the water.
Yeah. No, he didn't. No. He didn't get the robe off. No. Down to the Speedo. He didn't even get his feet in there. So, anyway, it's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame.
It is.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
Like just such unnecessary stuff, but. Life goes on.
Life goes on, and in St. Louis.
Oh yeah,
good friend of ours, Mr. Brayden Schenn, named captain.
Yeah, congrats.
That's
awesome.
Deserves congrats, Schenner. Deserving. We kind of called it. Not a big deal. We kind of called it. I talked to Chief yesterday too, and he was really excited about it. You know, for Schenner. He loved. We know he loves Brayden.
Yep.
I don't think you could have got a better guy for it.
I agree.
Kind of brings everything to the table for your team, and. Just a great human being, great family. His brother too, his whole family, awesome people. So it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, great. Yeah, power forward, brings all the elements. Good character guy. Yeah, so
he brought up.
Not surprised.
He did an interview yesterday. He was on the network, NHL Network yesterday, and he was like, they were asking about people that, he kind of looked up to, and it was obviously like Pronger, G, Chemo Tiemann, and I thought it was cool. He named Chemo. And then obviously there's been guys like in St. Louis that he's looked up to as well.
Sure.
So anyway, congrats, Center man. Awesome, well deserved.
Yeah.
I know Chief was happy about it as well.
Yeah. Let's see what look good on him.
Yep.
What else you got there, Yogs?
35th year.
Can you believe that?
Pretty impressive, man.
Going strong.
Pretty impressive, yeah. Playing for his team, I'm assuming. I guess he's the coach, too. I don't know.
GM.
Owner.
Marketing guru, Jackie Moon. Yeah.
Jackie Moon. No bear wrestling, no.
No.
I don't think,
Why not?
anyway. But, man, it's impressive, Yogs. He's just keeps going.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see his numbers over there because it is the top league, right? Like it's, but the fact that he's still playing, it's crazy. But he's in shape.
You may as well keep riding it. I've
Why
heard him
not?
talk about it before. He's like he's married to the game, and he'll keep playing as long as he physically can, and knowing that eventually will come to an end. He's like a kid, right? I mean, he's like you're playing the game 'cause you love it, and getting paid and living the life, man. Why not?
God, it's crazy. It's unbelievable.
Good for him. And what else we got, Nas?
With Keith Jones being named the president of the Flyers, they needed to fill in the role for TV, and they did that with our good friend Brian Boucher.
Yeah, Boucher, we got to get him back on.
Yeah, we got to get Boucher
stew.
on.
Congrats, Boucher.
Congrats to him. He does a really good
I love
job.
Boucher.
He does a really good job.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was doing a great job with NBC and ESPN and all of that. So it's good to snag him. I don't know if he'll still do games. I'm not really sure how that works because Jonesy would do games.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he might still do some other teams,
I'm sure he
other
does.
games. But congrats to Boosh. He does a great job. Was able to see him a couple weeks ago at the Phantoms thing. It was awesome. Still looks good in shape. Doing
Funny
a
as
great
hell,
job.
yeah.
Yeah, funny. God, is he's funny. I wish he could really be Boo when he's on there.
Yeah,
But I mean, he's a
impressions.
professional.
Yeah,
he's a professional.
For sure. And the boys are back, right? It's on.
It's
Rookie
on.
camp's a wrap, and
Yeah,
main
yeah.
camp is officially on.
Baller went to a preseason game. How'd that go, Baller?
Not great. The Rangers kind of bullied them in both
really?
games, and I think a lot of the forwards who you're hoping can push for a lineup spot, they didn't really perform at their best or expected. But knocking the
Nerves?
rust off, possible. Rocking the rust off, so we'll see.
That's cool.
Well, we got camp, a few preseason games to
Yeah.
make up for those games. I'm
Yeah,
sure
for
there's
sure.
not a whole lot of stock in those rookie games, but just seeing what
Unless
they got.
you're Bedard and you bury 5, and that's all everybody's talking about.
Well, not bad.
He doesn't have a muffin for a shot.
His release kind of looks like yours, Nas, off the wing.
I'm not gonna lie, it
pulling
kinda
it a
does.
foot in
Yeah.
and snapping it.
I
Cheese.
just snapped the thing, you know, like see what happens.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
He might score 60 this year.
Well, listen, I'm going on that bet you and I made off air here. You're thinking he's not going to get 20. I'm saying he's going over
Not 20.
for 500. Debo, you heard that right?
You were saying the over-under has got to be 40, not 30. Because
No, you said
Crosby
20.
had
You
39.
said 20.
I never said 20.
Yeah, you said that. Debo
39,
heard it.
and
Debo,
Ovechkin had 52 his first year. So the over-under has to be 40. I would say closer to 50. But
You think he's going to score 50?
he scored over 40.
What?
Yes.
You think so?
Do you see that shot?
Mark
He
that-
shoot it anywhere and probably score a goal.
I'm not saying obviously he can, but like it's a little bit different game.
Oh, it is for sure.
40's a lot.
But he is in that same bracket, that caliber as Crosby and Ovechkin, and list off those
he does
first round
shoot.
picks that have performed.
All right, well, this is great. Well, so we
Yeah.
have our first bet where you said he wouldn't get 20. I'm taking that
Well,
one. Now you're going
never
40
said that.
on the show. So the 40 on the show is what
Okay.
you can go with.
Okay,
But I'm going with the
that's
20
official.
bet that we had off air.
He'll get that before Christmas. So no,
Oh my God, he might.
he'll play
We'll
top line
see.
with some
Yeah,
couple
he
good
is.
players. He hopefully gets
He's
a
gonna
little
have
help.
pairs out there with him, like clearing space, chopping guys. Don't come
He
near
needs to be
this
ripping
kid.
pucks in the slot. Everyone will go in probably.
Yeah, no, he can shoot the puck, man. It's
Yeah.
insane.
I think we're ready to rock.
We
here,
do
Nas.
actually have a little breaking news.
Oh, breaking news! Another
Breaking news.
Well, first, Brad Marchand was just named captain of the Bruins.
Right?
But also, the Flyers just announced their promotional schedule for the season, and they announced that on January 6th against the Calgary Flames, they will host an Ed Snider Legacy Game.
Yeah. Appreciate the news, baller. Look at that, real time.
That's real-time stuff, boys.
Yeah,
and girls.
that's real time.
That's real-time stuff.
You're not going to get it anywhere else but here.
You're not getting that anywhere else, Debo, eh? Debo's writing his shit down. Look at him.
Well, we're ready to rock your Nast.
Let's do it.
126.
With our boy.
RJ Umberger.
Cheesy, let's go.
Let's go. Welcome back. I'm Riley Cote.
And I'm Derek Settlemyre. And this week, we're very excited to have a good friend on the show, a former first-round pick, Rick, 16th overall by the Vancouver Canucks.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, ended up here with us in Philly. Currently in Columbus, where he spent a lot of time. Let's please welcome Mr. RJ Umberger. Cheesy, what is up, my friend?
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me. Hey, just wanted to congratulate you guys on the success of the podcast. It's been great, man.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you so
fun.
much. It's
Appreciate
been a
you
lot of
hopping
fun.
So what's going on? It's been a
what do
while. It's been a minute.
Yeah, no, it's been a while. It's time flies. It's hard to believe, but just enjoying life with the kids and the family, man. It's been a whirlwind. Just fortunate to be lucky to enjoy every aspect of them growing up, their sports, and just being a dad. So I'm loving it right now.
It's amazing. It's so much fun. I mean, I miss what I used to do, but not like I thought I would. Because I'm getting to be with Elvis and watch him now, try to become an athlete and have fun and put him on a school bus. And you just can't, it's just some things just don't equal up to that. It's a lot of fun. So I hear what you're saying. And you have a sick pool, which I want to come do some dunks. He's got the sickest basketball. Yeah. I got a great basketball goal in my pool, Cheesy, but yours is like in the cement. So you can hang on that thing. I love it.
Yeah, the setup in our backyard is pretty good. It definitely helps with passing time. It's the one thing probably when we built this house here. I think we built it back when my last year there in Philly. So we were super excited about the backyard. That's kind of where we spend most of our time and have some pool parties. And the kids invite all their sports teams over, and we have a good old time in this backyard.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so cool.
It certainly helps keep the kids occupied.
Yeah, right.
Well, we kind of figured the kids are going to do their things, man. We kind of want them at our house so we can see what they're up to and make sure they're safe.
Exactly.
That's smart, especially when you're dealing with mine, Elvis, because this kid, there's something wrong with him.
You have to build a cage.
I need a cage in the backyard for this guy. But Cheesy, so we were kind of going back and forth. I saw a picture. I was telling Riles I saw a great at the Pittsburgh Penguins new practice facility. Well, I think it's been there a while, but they have this wall of players that are from Pittsburgh that made it to the NHL and played. And RJ was on there. So I was like, oh my God, I got to take a selfie with RJ, even though I'm not seeing him. So I sent it. We started chit chatting, but you're coaching now, 18U and 16U teams?
Yeah. So I'm dabbling in a little bit of coaching. I coach my son's team also. He's 10U house hockey. So I've been doing that for about 4 or 5 years. But I also do 16U and 18U. Here in Ohio, we call it pre-post. So it's a preseason and postseason team. We're not allowed to do both high school hockey and travel hockey, any kind of full season USA hockey team at the same time. So these are kids that play in the local high school hockey here in Ohio. And then that doesn't start up till November. So they're allowed to play in kind of a travel team, so to say, AA for a couple months, before and after. And that's what we do. We put this team together and go to 4 or 5 tournaments and play 20 plus games and have about 20, 25 hours of practice. And then they get to go off to their high school season and everything. So we also compete for national championship. We try to. So there's end of the season when their high school is over, we can come back together and then play in like a state tourney in which we play against like the full season teams, and the winners would go to tier 2 nationals. So it's fun. It gives these guys something else that just want a little bit more than high school. And there's some good players, some good kids, and I enjoy coaching at that level.
Nice.
Awesome.
It sounds like it's not like it's commitment, but it's not like full schedule commitment where you're locked in the coach's office for a full season, right? Is that kind of a little more space, or is it still pretty heavy?
That's exactly it. So it's I run it so I could pretty much make up my schedule and do it on my time. I do it around my kids, soccer games and whatnot. And,
Nice.
it allows me, it gets me involved. It gets me something to do, something to look forward to, the competitive edge there, coaching, and able to work with some players and see the feedback and everything that it's great. And like you said, it's not full season. So like when November starts, I go and coach my son's team, and it allows me to be there for him full time. So
Nice.
I would be finding this rink no one knows about and sneaking practices in so I get to the national championship. I'm kidding. No, it sounds cool, man. Because hockey's such a commitment. Obviously, that growing up playing, and Riggs, obviously you, but my son, like I never knew how much of a commitment it was. The early mornings,
Oh yeah.
And like we were in Rochester a couple weeks ago, they played 6 games. In 3 days they come home and a full on 3 practices during the week. What do you call it? A private.
Oh, yeah.
He's a goalie. Cheesy, he's a goalie, man. What am I going to do? I don't know what to do
What's
about
wrong
it.
with him?
Hexy,
What's wrong with you? Let him
Hexy,
do
I
that.
know.
Yeah.
Well, Hexy told me when Elvis was like 4 or 5, he's like, just fire one of those outdoor hockey balls right off his forehead tonight. He'll never do it again. And I'm like, dude, he's like 4. He goes, yeah, but he'll never want to play goalie.
Yeah, he's still in the pipes.
Maybe I should have done
still
that,
in the pipes, yeah.
But it's fun, and it's a big commitment, like you said, Cheesy. So it's kind of cool how you guys work that out.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. These kids, like 6, 7 years old, they start. They're going in the mornings every day before school, and these kids are living at the rinks more than I think we ever did. And I think that the level of commitment you want is there for different as much as you want or as little as you want. But the kids that are putting in the time, it's just they're so good nowadays. Like these kids are so skilled, and from all the private lessons, the skating, the stick handling, the YouTube videos, these things, kids doing the stuff at home. It's just a whole nother level.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
Yeah, building off that, I mean, I always kind of like struggle with like, how OCD you have to become. Like, we were kind of all OCD in our own ways, right? We were obsessed with hockey and we loved to get on the ice, pond, local rinks, whatever it was, like any ice time. But I almost feel like it's gone to a whole nother level of like, is this healthy, for some of these kids? Like, I guess it's certainly better than like being on the streets or being in trouble and stuff like that. But like, my God, like these 5, 6, 7-year-old kids are like better skaters than I ever was as pro. And like, like the amount of skill and, video work and all, you said the privates and the whole thing. It's like, that's crazy.
It's a legit question to ask. I mean, it could be a problem. These kids are putting in so much time. You worry about burnout. You worry about injury. You worry about just other aspects. I mean, I know I'm still a big proponent of playing multiple sports. I still think that's the way to go. Like that's what we did growing up. That's what I did. I think it makes you a well-rounded athlete. I think it teaches other lessons in life.
Mm-hmm.
More friends. Not everybody's going to make it, to the highest level. So I think there's just important aspects that need to be looked at. These kids, man, like they're like, at what point is it too much? I think for some it's, if they're truly enjoying it and that's really what they want to do and that's their personal choice. You get some players that just love being at the rink so much that that's all they think about. They want to watch hockey and nonstop at home. And if that's what they want to do and that's their passion, I mean, it's hard to tell them no. But at the same time, it's if it's being forced on any of these kids, I don't think it's the right route.
Yeah,
well, I agree with you, and we talk about this a lot. It's the parents' passion for some of these kids. It's what and it is hard because I wonder, like for you, I was going to ask you, like you were a competitive guy, obviously played in the National Hockey League. As a coach, are you able to like pull yourself back and, like, cause I know sometimes with Elvis, like I'm not coaching him this year, but like I'm anxious for him. And I don't want him to know that I'm nervous. Cause I don't want to make him nervous or feel like he's under pressure. Christ, he's 8 years old, right? Like just turned 9, but how do you go about that with coaching, especially your son?
Yeah, it's a challenge. I think with the older kids, since it's not a AAA level and it's not a full season, it helps that these guys are, they want to get better and they want to prepare for their high school season, but it's not to the highest degree, right? And I'm there to help them get them better, but and it's not a crazy commitment. So it's a little bit easier in that regard. And my son, so the one thing, he's more of a house player. He's not overly serious about kind of any sport. He plays a lot of sports. He likes it, but the kid likes just being a kid. He likes playing video games, and he likes being on his iPad, and he likes, going outside and just different things like that, right? Like, so he's not how I was growing up, where I was that kid that couldn't stop, right? Whether it was baseball, hockey, hey dad, let's go practice. Let's go hit balls. I'm going to go shoot in the driveway as soon as I got home from school. He's not like that. And I noticed that right from the get go. So for him, it's about having fun, right? Like he just wants to go on the ice. He wants to have fun. He wants to be with other kids on the ice. It's, his passion for it is not the same as other kids. So to treat him like that, it would be unfair, right? So, I've done a pretty good job, as early on, just recognizing it and just being a dad for him more than to being a coach for him. I think he says we're hockey buddies, and that's good enough for me, right? He just likes being there, being on the ice, and I just want to see him have fun.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, how important what you just said is, for parents to discern, like, where their child is at. Like, and it's okay to not be fully committed. It's okay to just want to play hockey for the love of the game and just play and having no pressure, and just being able to know where your child is at, because I think what you're alluding to, Nas, is like a lot of this pressure and the problem comes from the parents, and you're forcing them into this hole that, I mean, realistically, if you want to ever have a chance of playing at the highest level these days, like you almost have to choose hockey full time, like, as your primary sport at the age of 5 or 6. It seems like, there's no space for anything else. But I think to preserve your child's mental health, like discerning, like, where's your child at? Like, is this guy even want to be a pro, or does he even want to attempt to be, an elite player? I think that would solve a lot of problems, and fully respect that. And I think a lot of parents should listen to that message, honestly. Yeah. It's pretty important. So appreciate that.
Important as a parent to just be honest with what the situation is. I mean, my son Matthew is never going to play at the highest level. He just, is not going to, and I'm okay with that. And I'm just there to support him and make sure he has fun. And, I think it's, as parents, we shouldn't put pressure on our kids to have to be, especially as a ex-pro player. Like, I think people assume that, oh, your son's probably pretty good. He's going to go to the NHL someday too. It doesn't have to be that way. Like, as ex-pros, we don't need to put that pressure on our sons to fill a certain, idea for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's an important message for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, good on you. Recognize that.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a struggle for a lot of former players too, right? When you have kids, you'd be like, yeah, son, you're doing this, and I'm going to spend all this time to help you become the best player you can be, which it seems to be a natural progression, but also recognizing if the child actually wants to do that or not is important too. So good stuff. Moving on, Nas, what we got?
Yeah, so you play your college hockey at Ohio State University. Fucking good numbers too, Cheesy. Every year, all 3 years you were there. What was that experience like for you? Like coming out of the junior you were playing. I know you were playing the USA, but it says the NOL. You played in the NOL. How did that work? Or the USHL as well?
Yeah, so that was the first couple of years of the U.S. program, and back then, the under 17 team played in the North American League, and then the under 18 team played in the USHL League. We played a full schedule, and it wasn't until after I left that they adopted a little bit of the college schedule for the older group, and then I honestly don't even know what it's at now, what they're playing in, but it changes all the time. But back then you were part of those two leagues.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that because I'm actually working for a team here, Philadelphia Rebels, in the North American Hockey League, and I was like, oh man, they don't have that anymore. Obviously it was a while ago, but I just wondered how that worked with but that makes sense, I guess. Having the one in the NOL, and then the USHL is the higher level. Obviously, it's the next level up, best junior league in the U.S. anyway. So, but how was it playing at OSU, man? That must have been like, obviously the football is huge, but you got a pretty good damn hockey program there.
Yeah, the hockey program is really taken off and done good things in the past few years. When I went there in 2000, it was the tension to make this a program that just is every year one of the ones you're talking about. And we had some good players there and some really good years. Guys like Dave Steckel, Ryan Kessler was there, Nate Ginnon was there. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of guys, but I mean, we had Rod Pele played for New Jersey. A bunch of pros there early on, and we had some good years. And unfortunately, we didn't win a national championship or anything. We went to the NCAA tournament a couple of years, but so many great memories. I think that's the best part about it is that the year I was there, I had 11 guys in my class, so my freshman class. So we were really tight. I had a lot of really good friends that I'm still in touch with today, and a good amount of the Ohio State guys still live here in Columbus, and they stay here. And that's one of many reasons why I chose to stay in Columbus to retire and live. And we have a good group of alumni to see each other, golf, hang out, go to football games, get together for the hockey alumni, and those things are just, it's important and a lot of fun. And I'm proud of where the program's heading right now. The Big Ten hockey that they made about 7, 8, 9 years ago is done great for the program, and it's really made the conference well. And they play against Minnesota and Michigan, and it's a lot of fun. It's a good program right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That'd be cool too, going with a bunch of friends. You all went there, and you go to the football. Obviously, is a shit show.
Yeah.
The tailgate, if you're tailgating anyway, right? And it's just so much fun. So
the football years were unbelievable. So when I went on a few visits, right, to different schools, and like Notre Dame and Michigan State and whatever, a couple other, and I came to Ohio State for a football. Well, it was a visit, and it was a football Saturday, and it happened to be a night game against UCLA. So like I went to the rink in the early morning, watched the guys practice, headed over to one of the guys' house at 12 o'clock, and here we go. It started, right? So the fun and the shenanigans all began, and just getting a taste of what this football Saturday is like, hanging around the guys, and we go to the game for a little bit at night and go to a little party afterwards, and it's just. I got up the next morning and I met for breakfast with the assistant coach and was like, yeah, it's a good time. This is great. He gave me his spiel, and I remember I called up Davey Poulin a couple of days later. I was supposed to go on a visit to Notre Dame. I said, yeah, I'm not going to be coming on that visit.
Just give. At least you did that for him.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I can imagine were you a little hungover having that meeting with the assistant coach?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Although when you're young like that, it's not as hard to do.
You recover quicker.
But
sure.
That's great, man. Well, that's actually great recruiting by OSU.
Oh yeah,
bring the boys in on it when there's a home football game. That's awesome. So, if you can, Cheesy, so you're a first round pick, taken by Vancouver, like I said earlier. What was the process there? You ended up with us in Philly. Obviously, your first year being that lockout year, which was one of the best years of my life. But can you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah, I'd say it's a bizarre process. I think probably not the way you want to start out your career, but I did it anyway. So, back then when you leave college, I was able to go back to school for a couple of years after I got drafted by Vancouver, and after my junior year, like I said, a pretty good year. Was ready to go. The coach Ohio State was like, yeah, it's time for you to move on. Vancouver was ready for me to move on. And, we couldn't negotiate anything. The Vancouver with Brian Burke, it got really hardball. And at that time it was before they changed the CBA, and, rookies were getting the big bonuses, the full rookie contract, and it wasn't even about the money. I think as a first round pick, all the priority it was established that pretty much that you got all the bonuses, the full contract, and it's just how it was, right? And they were just lowballing me, and so at first we're kind of like going back and forth, and then it got to the point where they started discrediting my values, and Burke started just taking some shots in the papers and the medias, and it got personal at that point, and that's where it kind of the negotiation changed. And I sat there with my agents, and we had to make a decision: do we take their offer and their with them going after my character and things like that, or do we hold out and take the risk of not playing hockey for a full year, because being a college player, you couldn't go back. Once you start negotiating, you're done. Like you
You're
couldn't
done.
go back to
Yeah.
school. And then they also held your rights for the full year. So I couldn't even go to Europe to play. I couldn't go do anything. So we made the choice. I think maybe we thought maybe things would change. They probably thought I wouldn't sit out the whole year. And, after a bunch of different failed attempts and, them actually coming back with more, even worse offers when it was insulting, that we just said, hey, we're going to do it. Right. And my agent at the time, Mike Liu and Brian Lawton, were really good. And, they're completely accurate about everything. They said that there's probably going to be a lockout the next season. They were pretty certain. And they said, you'll have a chance to go play in the A for a year and, catch up on that year that you missed. And, you'll, wherever it is, you'll have an opportunity to get back to full speed and prove everybody wrong. And then, we'll see what happens after that. So in my eyes, I was like, okay, well, I don't really want to be sitting out, but, all right, I'll just keep training. I'll get, fired up more and I'll get myself stronger. I viewed it as I had an injury, but I didn't, right? Guys
right.
have injuries, knee injuries. They sit out a year and whatever. And I didn't have that. So I was just getting stronger. I was working out. What I end up doing is I end up going and skating with the U.S. program in Michigan, just practicing with them and waiting till it came like the December 31st. If I didn't have a contract by December 31st, it was pretty much like, all right, it's not going to happen. And so that happened. I went back home and was just kind of just off ice for a while in the new year. And I don't know if you guys remember the Bertuzzi incident with Colorado when he got suspended for the rest of the year for, I think, hitting more.
Oh
yeah,
right.
Yep, sure do.
Yeah, so Vancouver had a good year. That happened right before the deadline, and so they had to make a move. They end up trading my rights to the Rangers, and they think they got like Martin Ruzinski or somebody for the deal, and whatever. So now all of a sudden a trade deadline, I'm with the Rangers now, and it's like, okay, well, you haven't been skating in a couple of months. They bring me into to skate with the team. I'm skating with Jagr all of a sudden. I go on a road trip. I actually came to Philly for one of their games. I traveled to Philly, and that's another story. Just sitting in the meal room with me and Jagr by ourselves in the meal room.
Oh
So,
my God.
yeah, it was a wild ride, and next thing you know, and then I go down to Hartford for a week to practice with them, and waiting to negotiate a contract with New York. And at this point, like I've sat out 6 months or whatever it was. So close to free agency at 22 years old, which is unheard of, right? So, we couldn't come to an agreement with the Rangers. They wanted me to play on a PTO, and what they really wanted was they wanted the compensation second round pick if they didn't. That's kind of what they traded for, right? They didn't really trade to sign me. They traded to get that pick. So I didn't sign with them. I didn't take the PTO, and my agents were pretty certain on June 1st that I was going to have some teams ready. And sure enough, Philly and Toronto were two of the teams that were aggressive on that first day. And, I came in. It was kind of weird because I did like a recruiting visit. I went to Toronto, met with Ferguson, and I came to Philly. I met with Holmgren, picked me up, met with Clark, sat down with Hitch in his office, and then made my decision right then and chose Philly.
Yeah, great decision, by the way.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say it worked out
think,
well. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it all worked out. It's crazy. People don't understand like how effed up it can get with things like that. I appreciate you walking us through that because it is tough, especially when you're still young. It's not like you're 18, but you're still a young kid, and
it's a tough one.
you're trying to. You made the right decision. It sounded like you were advised well too by the guys
it really
that were in
does.
charge of.
It was hard because, obviously you don't want to start out that way, and then you start getting your character attacked by Vancouver, and then you sit out the year, and people start saying, well, you probably ruined your career, right? Like, who's this kid not signing a contract? Who does he think he is? You sat out a whole year. How are you gonna recover? It just people saying like what a bad decision was, and I just didn't believe that. I like I said, my family, we stuck to our values of what we thought was right. And that's kind of what it was. It's just what we felt was right. Yeah. And we took a gamble and basically just kind of bet on myself and things happen for a reason.
Yeah, for sure. And then, we They were right.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
were right with
lockout.
the lockout. And what a year that was, RJ. You were rookie. You scored. Christ, I think you scored 21 goals that year, 44 helpers. I don't care if you're 22, you're still a rookie playing with men now. And that
probably
the best league there was
in the
at
world,
that point in time, because
right.
everyone had their prospects, with the American League team. And it was just, we've talked about this a lot. We've had guys on before, but it was one of the best years I ever had. I mean, it was so much fun with you guys.
Yeah, that year was a blast. I mean, and you're right, it was the best AHL you probably ever was. I mean, the amount of NHL guys that were down, and that was another thing that my agents kind of predicted too about that. So we knew I was going to be in good hands, and the Philly team was just so much fun. I think, what did we go on a run of like 20-some games?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
crazy.
I can't believe that got broken.
I know,
Norfolk
it
ended
got
up breaking that.
shattered.
They
Like,
did.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe it got broken here. But I mean, it was just stupid. Like we were so good, and the guys were awesome, and we had a good time hanging out together. And anytime you win a championship your first year, it's like, all right, this is great. Like here we are.
Is it this easy?
Nice bounce
Not
back.
that it was easy, but
no, and it was so cool in Philly too, because like we were the main event, for hockey, and and it's 17,000 fans in the final game, and we're going wild and we're celebrating, in the locker room. Like this was amazing, and it was such a fun, memorable year with a lot of guys that I ended up playing, a few years with. So it was a good time.
Yeah, it was, to me, that team, like, you had a lot of good players, a lot of guys with points, but no selfishness on that team at all.
Yeah.
I felt like
a lot of guys that hadn't played NHL games yet.
Yeah.
Went on to play games, as
and
you were
then
talking
the following
about.
year, I mean, even yourself, you started I think 8 games you played with the Phantoms that following year, and then you were gone. See you, no more American League for you the rest of your career. But and then you end up scoring 20 goals in 72, 73 games with the Flyers. So, I mean, you're obviously meant to be playing there, but it's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, it was just a good group of guys, like you said, good veterans, guys like Sim and Slaney. Slaney was such a good leader, and these guys, like you said, there was no selfishness. We brought in Richards and Carter right there at the end, and it was like we didn't miss a beat. Like everybody just loved having them there, and they stepped right into top minutes, and guys just went with it, and we were just a good cohesive group. And Steven, Coach Stevens too. I mean, you got to talk about Johnny. Like he was such a good coach for young guys, in my opinion. So for him to be able to manage all these different talents and guys that had success at different levels, so I think that says a lot for him, and why he's had success at every level as a coach too. So it was just a good combination of guys. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it probably was arguably one of the best teams I've been on as far as like individual character, teams, team bonding, just guys, good chemistry, right? Everyone kind of knew their role, and I don't think we had anybody in like top 20 in scoring. It was like we scored by committee, right? Everyone's
spread out.
It's just hard to play against. It was just like you think of a team. You think of like a good team, like that was just like a solid team all around, like on the ice, off the ice.
Yeah,
you're right though. Like I definitely would not have been one to be on another team playing against us with the talent we had. I mean, up there, it was just ridiculous. Who we had, yourself and Friggy and Grattan. I mean, like it was crazy.
Yeah, we could get you on the scoreboard, and then we could get you, on the ice, the gloves on the ice there. But it was just a great mix and a great year, man. God, I remember that. What was the game? Was it against Scranton where your line? He just started rolling you guys. Grat scored. Yeah. Was it the first round? Yeah. I mean, that said so much about the team. We were losing 5-1, and I remember Johnny throwing these guys out there and a few big hits. Next thing you know, there's a goal. I mean, it was just by committee. Everyone was on the same page, and everyone was so excited when your guys did that. Like, because like that's what a team does. Like you said, it was awesome. It was a great year.
And we had such good goaltending. Nitty was so good. This was
Yeah.
great, and this was the best person I've ever seen in hockey. So I mean, you have a guy like that in your locker room. It was just kept everybody calm and laughing. And like it was just such a unique group that it's hard to get that kind of assembled group again.
Yeah, that's the
sure.
truth. Yeah. Yeah, you could play hockey for years and years and years and never have be on a team like that, never experience something like that, which is something special for sure.
Yeah.
So then moving on, you obviously became a full-time NHL player after that, a couple years with the Flyers, and then moving on to Columbus. They talk about like that transition of just like, you had a solid first year in the NHL, and you can move on to scoring, I think 5 years in a row, over 20 goals in a row there a year. Just establishing yourself, how the confidence kind of continues to grow. Talk about like your progression as a pro.
Yeah, so I got into that, like you said, about 10 games into that rookie year. I got up to the big club and just kind of didn't look back there. I think Hitch was a good coach for me. He kind of, I think he appreciated the honest way I played the game. I appreciated him as a coach. He was tough on us, tough on Karts, Richie, me. But I look back on it, and I'm very thankful for what he did for us. He didn't allow us to cheat the game. And especially me, like he demanded that I play it harder. And it was a transition for me because I was used to kind of playing more a skill game growing up and even into college. So when I came to Philly, I transitioned to more of like in the corners, along the boards, in front of the net, and that kind of stuff. And slowly as my career went on, I got better at that. So I'm thankful for him doing that for me. And the first year, it went well. I think I got on a line late there in the year with Jeff and I think it was Nico, and we did well. And I remember us being in the office almost every day with Hitch because he wasn't crazy about having these young guys as his second line. So
Yeah.
but we did good. We like you said, 20 goals, and Kartsy had a great year too, and gained a lot of confidence after that first year and had a decent playoff run for us. We lost in the first round, but it was just a good experience overall, seeing guys like Forsberg and Gagne and just playing. And or Forsberg wasn't there yet, but just seeing this and learning at this level, it was great. And then as the expectations for the second year was huge. Unfortunately, I came off that bad concussion I had in the playoffs. I think everybody remembers that hit. And
Campbell,
that changed me for a little while. It's I was not right. I wasn't the same person over the summer. I didn't feel well. I went to the World Championships there for right at the end of the season, and I had to leave. I felt so bad, and I was trying to play with just do things with that head injury. And I think back then we didn't know about the history that we know now, and the stigma was different. So I tried to go through the summer, and I couldn't train, and I just wasn't myself. And about the time I did start feeling healthy, it was right before camp. And I know I came into camp probably about the worst shape that I've been for any training camp, and just got off to a terrible start. I think I was a little gun shy out there, and I think it didn't help that our team struggled mightily that second year, and we ended up being the worst team in the league. And it was my worst season by far. Well, one of my worst seasons, and you start questioning yourself. What's going on here, and it was the first year of fluke and whatnot, and so you quickly wanted to put the second year behind. And I think as an organization they did too. And thankfully, Philly still believed in me and the other young guys, and kept us there and gave us another chance for that third year. And I remember, when that year ended, I said, I'm never coming into camp the way I felt like that ever again. So what I actually did was, my cousin who worked with me pretty much my entire life in training, I said, hey, come out and live with me for the summer. And he quit his insurance job, and we built a gym in the basement, and we just attacked it like every day, 2 times a day, and just really trained hard. And I went into camp that year feeling very confident. I felt faster on the ice, and ended up having a third year that really transitioned my career to a different level. It was a funny year. Like there was some ups and downs, and we had some losing streaks. I remember one time we lost 10 games in a row.
Yeah.
But like as a group, we end up going to the semis there, And it was again another fun year for me personally. It was a weird year. Like I felt better than ever. I put up a lot of points and everything, but I couldn't score goals. It was weird. Like I was hitting posts, and just my shooting percentage was god awful, and it was just like, what's going on here, But it's just one of those things, and we had that playoff run, and I had a 10-game strand in the playoffs where everything just came together, and like I said, it changed the course of my career.
Yeah, they had signs up in Montreal. They were they did not want you stepping anywhere near Montreal. 8 goals in 5 games. I just remember anything. I mean, you were feeling it, man. It must have looked like a soccer net to you when you were shooting, and it was Carey Price in that.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget. But boy, were you on fire. Wow, 8 goals, 5 games, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the high points of my career for sure. It was just, you get in that zone, and it's that the elite guys can get in that zone more than anybody else, right? And so just to feel it, at one moment, it was something else. You come into the rink, just the confidence that you had, knowing that you were going to play well, and let's not forget, like the whole team was playing well. It was easy to play well when the team is playing at that level, and you're just the energy that we had, and playing in Montreal with the fans, and like it was awesome. Then going home to our crowd, it was such a fun stretch of 5 games, and there's nothing better than making that crowd in Montreal just
yeah.
They're jumping up into the glass, and it's just, those were some of the memories. It was probably one the best stretch of 5-6 game stretch that I ever had in my career.
Yeah, no
that
doubt.
Was awesome.
I was going to ask you, RJ, I remember playing with you, and I was talking to Nasty before you hopped on, just about like, I always remember you being like a progressive guy as far as like training. I remember you had the tent, the high altitude tent in your house, and a few other things. Was that year you talked about when you hired your cousin as your trainer? Were you already into that kind of stuff, or was that just like part and parcel of, you like making the decision to kind of elevate your game through training?
I think I've always been a guy off the ice that took it pretty seriously. From he took me under his wings late high school, and then I think the U.S. program, right? Like they train you pretty seriously. We were boxing, whatever. So like I kind of just got the grasp of this training thing pretty early. And in college, it's similar, right? Like it was a lot of like probably back then a lot of football training. Like we were just heavy and hard and a lot, right? So. But I think that year it just switched to a whole new level. I was willing to do whatever it took to not have another year like I did. I wanted to have a long career in the NHL, and I remember going to Jimmy McCrossin that year. I was like, hey, like I heard you guys had that oxygen tent, like, hey, can I use it? And so he let me borrow it, and I set it up in one of our spare bedrooms, and for that year, I slept in a different bedroom than my wife every night of the season, and just was looking for any way to just be a little bit better, a little bit and like my oxygen, like was my VO2 was always one of my weaker things in my career. Just naturally, like I think I suffered from hereditary bad VO2, and so I was always a challenge for me to try to improve that more and more every year, and I ended up buying like a personal one later on in my career where it would just go over my head while I was sleeping in my bed. So I always got a lot of ball busting for it. But
it worked. Face helmet on.
What's the wife saying? Yeah.
It works. So.
Hey,
what's the wife saying? Turn it over at you.
Bubble wrap on. Oh, hey.
It's like, what the hell?
Just working on my VO2 here, babe.
Yeah. Gonna get 20 again. Oh, that's great, man. So you end up back. You end up going to Columbus, and like Riley said, he had 4 straight years of 20+ goals. And Hitch, right? Like, RJ, play the right way. You probably heard that once or twice, right?
Yeah.
My favorite one was he said to Uppy that day when he was coaching St. Louis and they were in town. Uppy, and he was like, he told Uppy you're not in the lineup tonight. And Uppy's like, yes, I am. I'm playing. And he's like, you're playing the game sideways. He goes, what the fuck does that mean, Hitch?
Yeah, what does that mean?
What does that mean? He goes, I'm in. And he's like, okay, then. And he let him stay. He did stay in the lineup. He played against us that night. But anyway, Hitch was good to me. I enjoyed it. He liked you too.
Yeah.
He liked Ross too.
Yeah.
But
I got along with him.
Anyway, you end up there in Columbus, and man, you lit it up. You know, you had a great career while you were there.
Yeah, it was a great change of scenery for me. You know, finishing up that playoffs in Philly, and obviously, you know, I had a good playoff, so my contract was up, and with salary cap issues, and we had contracts for Jeff and Richie and just different things like that. I knew there was a chance that I was probably going to get moved, and I wanted to stay. I wanted to keep building off what we had, but I knew the way the business worked, and I got on a draft day. I was actually heading down to vacation down Hilton Head, and I got the calls with some friends, and got the call from Hitch that actually they just traded for me, and then talking with the Hitch a little bit more, and then starting to talk to people back in Columbus. I got really excited about it, and went there for a visit, and talked to Nash and different guys, and was excited about what they were trying to do there, because obviously a team that hadn't been in the playoffs much or at all, and I was excited to be a big part of that. And talking to Hitch, that was the plan, and Scott Housen, they wanted me to be a big part of it, and so I went there with some confidence and excitement. And that first year, I remember getting off to a terrible start. Probably 8-10 games without a goal or anything. And I just remember talking to Hitch, like, what am I going to do? And so he helped me through that and turned it around, and had a really good first year there. And just loved being in this community, this area, being a Ohio State guy and a Blue Jacket. It just felt right from the get-go. Yeah. It was great having a group of friends with the Ohio State guys that I could get away from the rink sometimes when we had a bad game and talk to them. Met some amazing neighbors. My kids were born that first year when I got traded here. In August, we just were pregnant with the first, my wife was pregnant with the first child. And so, this transition to Columbus was a whole different life for me, right? Like, it was a new beginning of, having kids. And I was very thankful for it. Again, lucky that I was close to Pittsburgh, where my family could come out all the time. It's pretty wild. I played my whole career within a 4 or 5 hour driving range from the time.
Yeah.
Like, who does that, right? Like,
yeah, that's true.
And halfway across the country or whatever. But
yeah.
So yeah, we had that first year in Columbus was a good season for us. Mace came on
that's right.
early on that year. It was probably one of some of the best goaltending I've ever seen in my life. He was unbelievable, and made the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. And I remember how exciting that was. And we played against Detroit, who I think they ended up losing the semis that year. They ended up winning the next year, but we just weren't anywhere close to them. They swept us in 4, and we realized that we had a lot of work to do. And so over the next few years, I don't think we kind of got to where we wanted to, and we had some turbulent years. Hitch got fired and whatnot, but those years in Columbus definitely changed my career.
Yeah. Do you happen to know who scored the first playoff goal in Columbus's history?
Yeah. Do you know who assisted it?
I don't.
Jakey.
No, he didn't. Jakey to you, eh?
So Jakey and I played a lot together that first year. He was a rookie, and it was Jake Brassard and me, and we were a pretty good little line.
Right. Yeah, that's a good line.
We had fun. Jake went hard on the forecheck and turned one over and just centered it to me in front, and did like a no look backwards through the 5-hole. And that was the first. That's a good trivia question.
Yeah. Baller, our boy Baller knew it. He's the one who came up with it. I can't take credit for it. That was Baller. That's great. I do remember. I looked at rosters from the teams when you were there, and I Jakey and Brass too. That's cool. Guy. Well, was Jake a handful his rookie year, just like he was?
I mean, major handful. I mean, coming over from being a Czech guy, coming over just like no clue about when to go to sleep, and rest and stuff. I mean, he was just typical Jake, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
same Jake where it's just like everybody loved having him, right? Like he's such a great locker room guy. Like you give him crap, but like, what are you doing, Jake? Like you can't be doing that. Like get to bed and get some sleep. Like we're traveling. Like you can't be playing the next game when you haven't gone to bed yet. Like
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
You do need to sleep.
I mean, he was just such a beauty and such a good guy. And like you had Commodore in that locker room.
I was gonna say Commie, yeah.
Another great team guy that we just all loved having, and Rafi Torres and Pekka was on that team, and
that's right.
Obviously Nash and Jason Chimera. Like these are just guys that were just guys you loved hanging around with. So that was a fun year, that first year in Columbus.
Yeah, I remember Commie telling us something about Jake with his M&Ms or something. Fuck, I can't remember exactly how it went, but yeah, Jake. But that's awesome, man. That's you named some guys that played a long time in the league, man, that had some serious experience. Must have been fun.
I mean, you almost teed it up for us here. You're in Columbus. You just mentioned Commie. What's the vibe like in Columbus right now? What's happening there? Obviously, it's the smoke is cleared a little bit, but from your perspective,
yeah, what a week! It's a week here. It's been in Columbus. Typically, this time of the year, it's Columbus is kind of out of the headlines. So, it's been crazy. I personally I'm not in the mix, right? Like I don't bother any of the players about this that are there. I see them at the rinks, and and a lot of them have kids that are playing with my kids, right? Like Dorsett and Bull that they coach, and I see Nasher and I see some of the guys that play here, and it's just like Boone, I don't want to bother them about it. So, I stay out of it. I'm just like any other person here watching it in the headlines and seeing it involved. But unfortunate. I think there was mixed emotions from talking to different people when they hired him in the first place. I think some fans, some parents were excited about it. Some were questioning it, whether it was the right move or not. So I think it was interesting to see how the year was going to play out with him. My prediction was I thought it would have probably went well in the beginning, and maybe his techniques and tactics with such a young team might have fizzled. But I was anxious to watch and see what happened, and I never predicted this.
No
obviously,
way.
I followed Commie, what he says, and some of the other stories of Franzen and Marner and all those things. So. I've known about it, but never predicted anything like this happening here. And honestly, like it's disappointing, and I people ask me all the time if I thought it was true and all this, before like he stepped down, and I said, the players don't just say things. Like NHL guys are stand-up guys. They don't just start things and they say things for vendettas and whatever. Like if people are saying this, like if Spit and Chicklets are coming out saying this, like those guys got reason. Like people were discrediting them and taking shots at them, and I couldn't believe it. Like I told everybody, I was like, if the players are saying this, like you got to listen. Like players don't just make up this stuff. Guys, like NHL guys are honest, hardworking, truthful guys. Like there's something to it.
Well, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that fully. Yeah, you're not going to just make shit up, even if you don't like the guy. But like to make a story like that up and for it to burn the way it did, like there has to be some truth in it.
Yeah, we talked about this before, RJ, like when he did get hired, I'm just like, you're almost waiting for something. But I agree with you. I was like, it's probably going to start out okay. And then if they're losing, he can't handle that. Like his shit's going to start going awry. So, but it didn't get that. It did not get that far.
Game
so
in. Yeah,
it's get a game.
It's unfortunate it had to go that way.
In today's life, with mental health and everything, it's just like such an important thing. And it just to have a person in that kind of power, playing any type of games with his players, it's just so disappointing. And he's a great hockey mind too. That's the sad part about it. Like he's a guy that could be great for the game, if he did things the right way. And I just think with mental health and everything, and from every age, it's just it doesn't matter if you're an adult or not. It's just such an important thing. It's something to take serious.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what I was going to say. Nasty and I were talking before. It's like we're past that era of that type of coaching anyways, right? The fear-based coaching, the demeaning, the dictatorship type of stuff. Like there's several, I mean, there's got to be 20, 30 coaches available that could have easily snuck in that job. You know what I mean? It's just like, you wonder, like, when do you let go of that old guard and move on to like these more like real coaches, like communicators, that empower you, not just like piss on you and stuff like that. So I always question the hiring, just like you mentioned there too. But yeah, it's unfortunate it ever had to go this way. No one could have anticipated that this would have ever happened. Just crossing that line in just different ways, I guess, right?
Exactly. And there's like Chief, like we know what kind of a coach he is. He's hard, but he just wants you to play hard. He expects it, but he gives you the respect. He's not doing any. He may get on you and you may get pissed off about it. There's nothing wrong with that. But like you said, it's a great point by you with the mental aspect of it. Why do you want an 18-year-old kid if he makes your team coming in and that's in the back of his head every day? You want this kid to learn how to be a pro, become a pro, play hockey at his highest level. And I don't know. I mean, to have the balls to do that when there's all these eyes on you anyway from the way you've been portrayed, which is obviously true. It just doesn't seem like a very smart move, but it didn't last.
Well,
I mean, this is different than being a hard coach, right?
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
And this isn't cancel culture or anything like that. This is different. Like, this isn't a coach that's like, hey, you got off the ice and you played piss poor. Like, hey, you need to get that puck in. And he's yelling and he sits you for, the rest of the period. Like, right. Like, or, brings you in and does video and shows you what you did wrong and tells you you're not playing next game. Like, this isn't that. This is personal. This is going through phones, personal's life. Kami said it best. What if this person that was gay or something, or what if there is secrets in this person's life that he's just not ready to share yet, and they were exposed, and then now this person can use it against them. Like, it's just it's just wrong on so many levels, and it's very unfortunate that this has even happened in our sport. I think our sport needs more good stories, and it needs more it is such a good sport, and there's such good people in this sport, that I think it just, to have this be the focus point for the last week or so leading up to a new season, it's just so disappointing.
For sure.
I couldn't have said any better myself. Yeah, that's it. We need better. We deserve better, demand better, right? It's the only way to make the sport better and improve mental health, right? Because it's a hard game, but like, as you said, these two separate things: hard coaching and completely blatant violation of privacy and respect is a completely different thing. So I think that's something we could definitely fix. And find solutions for sure. So
I gotta ask you this, Cheesy. I'm not sure. I should probably know this more than you, since I still live here. Is there still a burger named after you over in Philly? What was the name of that place? I used to go there all the time on South Street. They named
it was
Copacabana. Copa Banana.
It was the Phantom Umberger.
Yeah,
because it was right after we won the Calder Cup. I don't know there anymore.
I haven't been there probably since we played that year. I don't go down to South Street anymore, but I thought that was great when they named the burger after you.
Of course you would.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You have to. I'm surprised they don't have that in Columbus somewhere.
They should.
Yeah, they should.
But the name just sounds there,
perfect.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, we were kind of talking about coaches. Who would you say was your favorite coach growing up, or in pro, anything?
Yeah, I think in pro it was Hitchcock. And it goes again to what you said earlier, Riles, about just the honestness. He told me how he expected it, and he was honest with me. And then if I went out and I worked hard and I did those things that he wanted to see, he played me, and he was honest with me, back. So I think it's everything you wanted for me personally with the coach. There was no guessing, there was no head games. I said earlier how he molded me into the player that I needed to be successful at that level. But I appreciated the fact that there were no head games.
Yeah,
it was he was very honest with you. Sometimes it was hard to hear, sometimes it wasn't. But in the end, if you worked hard, he treated you the right way, And the other beautiful thing about Hitch was too, and you've heard it a million times, guys, saying shit to him on the bench and calling him an asshole and everything. And you could have those back and forth with Hitch, and he understood the frustration that players went through in the heat of the moment, and just, but nothing with Hitch ever carried on. Like, if something happened, like, you dealt with it right there, and then the next morning you move on, and it's a fresh, clean slate, right? Like, he doesn't even remember anything from the night before. Oh wait, we got into he doesn't even remember. Like, it's let's go, move forward, right? So I appreciated that, because I dealt with some coaches later in my career that just a lot of head games, right? A lot of mental things, and it's hard to play for. And as for young guys, I don't know how any of the young guys do it. So, but I know Hitch has been hard on young guys before, but I think he's always been fair. So, like you said, I think there's a difference between mental games and being fair. So.
Yeah, I agree with that fully. All a player wants to know where he lies, even if it's hard to hear. But like, there's nothing worse than mind games and not knowing where you stand. You know what I mean? Showing up at the rink and you have no clue. That is the worst. That's really, you talk about mental health. Like, it's beyond coaching. It's just like fucking with guys now. And the way guys communicate now, I think there's no excuse for that anymore. I think that old way, it was kind of like the old way. But guys are such good communicators now. Coaches, this, I think being transparent with the guys is expected, right? I mean, just let the guys know, and then let it play out.
Just let the guys
respond. Yeah.
If you're in the lineup, tell us why.
Yeah.
Then give us the opportunity to go out there and work on those things and prove that wrong. But if we don't know, and it's guessing games, and you don't know if you're going to be in the lineup this game or not, and you're not willing to talk to you, and I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what, Nazi, how the end of my career went. Like, it was a little bit of that for me, and it was tough to come to the rink every day. Like, it's not fun. It's not fun coming to the rink when you have no idea what's going on, and
I remember, like, Cheesy was one of my favorite guys, and we were always shooting the shit, and he's your back. I mean, you had injuries going, you were fighting, and you were playing, and you were working your butt off. And I remember you had a bit of a goalless streak, and then I remember before one of the games, I was like, "Fuck, let's go, man!" Blah blah blah. Just get him going. And he's probably like, "Shut up, Nast." But yeah, he was good about it. Yeah, okay. He ends up he got the G-dub the one night. So I used to laugh because RJ would say some of the most fucked up shit to me, and I would just laugh. Shit I won't even say, like, just because he was kidding around. But I remember he comes in, and I was fired up because he scored the G-dub. Yeah. I'm fucking hot. Give him a hug, high five, come in the room, got the music going, and I was like, "See, man," and he goes, "Yeah," I just got the G-dub. I probably won't even be in a lineup tomorrow night. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? Can we enjoy this for 1 minute? But he would say, he was being sarcastic, but exactly. It was so funny. It used to make me laugh, the shit he would say to me. But,
sometimes I was a little bit an ass on some of those stupid things like that. But it was just a rocky year for me. I was going through so much, like, physically. Like, if I could go back, I would handle it so much of it differently. It started at the end of my last year in Columbus. I remember somewhere around Christmas time, I just started having this dull pain and just, like, not feeling right, and my back just got worse and worse. And like, I went through a stretch of 3 or 4 years where I didn't miss a game here in Columbus. And, like, I had that mental fight in me that, like, I can't sit out. I can't tell them something's wrong. I got to play through everything. And I tried to, and I remember getting to the point where my game started to struggle, and, I'm playing with also a bad hand, and, I ended up getting healthy scratched in Columbus. And it was just like, what's going on here? Like, I need to start telling people how I feel. And, at the end of that year in Columbus, we never really looked into it. They didn't really take my back injury serious. They did a quick scan and everything looked fine, but there was something going on. And again, I went into that season. I started training, and I just couldn't train right. Like, I'm trying to get through this every day, and I was so painful. And I knew that at that point that I was probably going to get moved from Columbus. So I was in a tough situation. It's like, I got to be more open and honest about how I feel, or if I do, I'm probably not going to get moved, and I'm probably going to be in a situation here in Columbus that's, it's going to be rocky. And, and I found out quickly that Philly traded for me, And, I feel bad about the way that it all went down because I probably wasn't as honest with them about how I felt, the health that I was in. And I think, honestly, I thought that I was going to get better. I thought that it was going to eventually go away. And I think right before training camp, it like got worse. And I remember sitting in there like, I don't know how I'm going to tie my skates. Like, I looked down and I'm like, I was telling Vinny LeCavier, I was like, I can't tie my skates. Like, I can't, I'm in so much pain. And I just pushed through, and I was every day coming to the rink was such a chore because I knew the physical pain that I was going to go through, and just the grind. Like, okay, mentally, I got to get through this practice, and it shouldn't have been that way. Practices should have been fun, especially when Chief was the coach. Our practices were 50 to an hour, just snapping a puck around, guys having a good old time, and I'm sitting there like, oh, I got to get through this,
Yeah.
So. And then I ended up having that surgery. I mean, obviously didn't have a good year. I got that surgery and I kind of went back to that thing. I came to Columbus and I was like, all right, what can I do to get better? Right. So I hired a private skating coach, and, first time in my entire pro career, I'm working on my skating and just, hammered it every day. We're going on the ice for an hour and whatnot. And, I'm a guy in the off season. I typically would get away from the rink. I would do everything kind of like off the rink, So here I am on the ice and everything. And I came into that training camp, and I remember guys saying like, "Man, you haven't skated this fast," and whatnot. And I felt pretty good, about it. And the hip was responding because it ended up being my hip was causing me all this problems, right, with my back. And I got off to a good start, like physically, and I remember blocking a shot in Winnipeg with my foot and breaking my foot and missed a month of hockey. And at that point, that's kind of where it all snowballed for me because like you said, I was in that goal drought, right? Like, and it became mental. And being in Philly, like, people are going to let you know about it. Like, I think I ended the year with like probably 20 some games, right? And then now I'm starting the year with like, I'm playing really well, but I'm not scoring. And it's like, all right, how many games is this going to get to before you score? And then, then I missed a month, and it was just like, I just couldn't get right. And unfortunately, then my, the hip and back actually started to hurt a little bit again. And I started, not as bad, but still wasn't right. And, then I got to the point where, with Haxtell, he wasn't going to play me anymore. And I finally scored too. And I was starting to feel some confidence and thinking like, okay, I could maybe turn this around here this season. And the team was doing well. Like the guys were playing, responding. So, putting me in the lineup just didn't make as much sense. And, but I think as an athlete and the competitive person that I was, it's just hard understanding that, Vinny was going through things at that time too. And, I think it's hard to deal with it when mentally you feel like you can play still. And, it was a tough time to come to the rink every day for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, when the wheels start falling off the carriage, it's no fun, right? It's like it really challenges the mental status, and like you're only as good as the physical vehicle, right? So,
well, that's it.
Inevitable.
When you physically start falling apart, like there's nothing you can do about it, right?
Yeah.
It's a hard game, man. You're a big body too, and you didn't play soft. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
machines
it just
break
takes
down.
Wear and tear, man.
But yeah, you got to accept it, right? It's like that whole competitive mindset is kind of like thrown out the door when you physically can't do it, right? It's like it's almost like you have to make some hard decisions, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of what you get squeezed into. So
yeah, I think the disappointing part for me was I always felt like the way I played the game and I could play in all different roles. I felt like I could have that last 2 to 3 extended part of the career by being a fourth line guy or a third line guy that penalty kills and plays 8 to 10 minutes, chips in 5-10 goals, right? Like, and just be there for the young guys and a mentor. Like I wanted that part of my career, and I don't feel like I got it because I feel like it kind of abruptly came to an end because with all this going on, I still had a pretty hefty salary. So, and the trade for Hartnell for me, like, so, and there was a lot of contract left, and Philly had no choice other than to buy me out. And unfortunately, I didn't get to do those last couple of years where I felt like I could have just been a really good team guy for the young guys, and a good just veteran guy. So.
Yeah. No, it's tough. Yeah, I could see how that went out for you for sure. Challenging for sure on the just on just how you envision your career playing out, and you kind of have your version of what it looks like, and unfortunately sometimes it's not in your control. But
Yeah, I think that's the thing you realize later on is that it ends abruptly for a lot of players, right?
Yeah.
You don't usually get to write your ending. Unfortunately, Father Time's undefeated, right? And
Yeah.
once your time, what I'm thankful and I'm able to look back now is that one, I had the opportunity as long as I did, got a lot of experience, got to play a long career, and I'm fully healthy now. Like I do everything that I want. I don't wake up in pain.
That's
And
great.
So that's the
For you.
best. That's the best part right now.
yeah,
I think
that's
I
amazing.
wake up in pain sometimes from some of my nights on the road.
Well,
I still think they're hurt me.
I mean, there's different types of pain, right?
Yeah, right. No, I'm kidding.
I can carry the groceries out of my wife's car now.
yeah, right. There you go.
Do that. That one of those years ago.
So you know what? Real quick, Cheesy, we were talking about some of your teammates you named in Columbus. Funniest guy you think you ever played with?
Funniest guy. Ooh. Jakey's definitely up there. Trying to think who else. Chimera is up there too.
Oh, really?
Chimera's
I don't know
a funny
him.
guy, but he was also like he would snap, right? Like he would,
I heard that.
his face would get bright red and snap, and he would just make you laugh when he's like totally pissed off, and that's like what's so funny about him, right?
Yeah.
Trying to think who. I mean, gosh, there's a bunch of.
There's always funny guys, but you're right. Like Jakey, like I mean, he's hard to match. Michael Raffles, one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
he's
yeah,
one of these
right.
guys,
Really,
fucking
yeah.
Raffy. But that's awesome, man, dude. We appreciate your time so much, Cheesy. It's great catching up with you, man. Hopefully, I'll see you here in this kids hockey run. We come back up there a couple times this year, so we'll have to get together.
If you get out to Columbus to play the Jackets, let me know. I'll come out and watch.
Yeah,
Good
for sure.
catch up.
For sure, brother.
If you're ever in this neck of the woods too, let us know.
Yeah, some Flyer alumni,
Maybe alumni
stuff,
game
man.
coming
Yeah,
in the new
just
year.
coming
Maybe
up.
Come back for that.
Yeah, I gotta get out there sometime for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
definitely.
That'd be
Sweet.
awesome, brother.
Well,
All
I
right.
appreciate you hopping on, Umby.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate
See
it.
you,
Love
dude. Big thank you to our good friend RJ Umberger.
Big Cheesy,
Nice
love
to
that, man.
reconnect. Yeah, nice to reconnect. It's been
Yeah.
a while.
For sure.
Yeah, so wish him the best.
Yep.
His endeavors there in Columbus, and
Hopefully I get to run into him when Elvis's team, we go back to Pitt. Not too far away. You never know his team could be there. But, yeah, great catching up with him, man.
yeah. So it's that time, Nast.
Is that time?
Oh,
Is it time for clear questions?
Oh, it
Brought to
is
us?
it ever?
Oh, yeah, don't block it.
Block
By
it up.
Clear Rum, our good friends. If you are in the state of Pennsylvania, Riles, use the code NASTY2023 and receive 35% off
Oh,
your
man.
order. That's an unbelievable deal. As you can see, I've kind of been drinking the
You've been staying hydrated.
I've been staying hydrated.
We only got the cucumber left. Where's all the pash?
Got to
Where's the
order
purple
some
pash?
more. Yeah, I need the purple pash. That's good. But yeah, let's go with it, baller. Clear
All right, we're ready
questions.
to rock.
Let's go. Anthony Giampaolo wants to know, who would have a better chance surviving towards his camp, Nasty or Riles?
Riggs for sure.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Riley would be able to do it. I would just be pissed off.
Yeah.
I would just be complaining. You would just do
legs,
it.
the stiff legs.
Oh, you're talking about the legs too?
Oh.
The legs. I definitely couldn't do it. But I just mean I would be pissed.
You'd be
Because I'm
pissed
like,
off.
why are we out here skating like this with no pucks? What does this mean?
Yeah. What does this mean?
This is not fun.
It's called mental endurance, mental capacity.
Yeah,
What
I
can
could.
you
I
battle
could be
through
the
now?
best. I could be the most in shape athlete on that team, and because I'm no good, I still wouldn't play. So,
That's a good point.
okay. So why do all that?
Yeah,
Without
right.
biskies.
Yeah, right.
At least let them skate up and down with a puck. Some of them need work on
Just
this.
say I'm
As
passive.
Chief would say, Eags, just leave your stick on the bench. You don't need it.
No, just skate.
So,
Just move.
he used to say that to poor Ben.
Oh man.
Anyway.
All right.
Mark Ramos over on Twitter wants to know, who are your breakout candidates for the Flyers this season?
I'm going Tippy.
Are you?
Yeah,
That's a great
I think
call,
I think
actually.
he's just gonna. Yeah, him and I think Farabee's gonna come back around. I know
I
Tippett
agree.
turned it on last year, towards the end of last year. Farabee kind of maybe dipped a little bit, maybe. But I think he can find that elevated game that he maybe the year before that he was really stepping into.
Yeah, I agree. Joel was also too. Remember, he came back very early.
Yeah,
and you know, it was harder for the young guys with Torts too. So I think a lot of like they're trying to get used to. I don't know what you want to call it, but just his ways, I guess. But I agree with both guys you just said, and I'm going to throw Morgan Frost in there as well.
Yeah,
you know, got a new deal and
a
little, I don't want to say comfortable, but like, okay, I'm here. I got the deal. Let's play.
Yeah.
And I thought he improved a lot last year anyway. And I think Torts actually likes him and trusts him. It seemed to be that way.
It seemed like that towards the end of the year.
The more, So I like all three of those.
Yeah,
great question.
Yeah,
great question.
One last one from Justin Giampetro over on Twitter. Assuming Hart is the starter, how should the Flyers go about the backup situation with Ersson, Cal Peterson, and Felix Sandstrom?
Man, that's a great question. That's what makes me wonder if something's going to happen during camp. I mean, Felix, well, all four of them are NHL goalies. Peterson makes what, $5 million? Are you gonna? There's no way you send Ersson and Felix down to the Phantoms, do you? Where they're splitting time. I just feel like something may happen.
Yeah, they might keep three for a while and see how this thing plays out.
But like the three you keep, who is it? Because you want Samuel playing, you want Felix playing. Cal Peterson's an older.
Yeah,
obviously he's been around. I'm not going to say he's old, but
I mean,
it's a tricky thing.
Yeah, it's tricky for sure, and you can go into it with your vision and your version of it. But I think training camp is always, we'll tell the tale. I think.
Yeah, but I mean,
this guy's shit the bed. And
you have four NHL quality goalies.
Yeah, we can't keep four, right?
Carter's. I still think Carter's the best there.
Yeah,
I only think he'll get two. He'll probably only play like 2 home games. I doubt they even make him play on the road. But these other guys, I guess you just have to watch. But then what do you do? Like now, can Felix be sent down? That's what I thought. So he can't be sent down without being claimed. You don't want to lose him for nothing.
Yeah, they're in a dilemma.
Maybe it's a good thing though.
It's a good problem to have.
Right.
Unfortunately, a guy's going to get sent down and or claimed off waivers, probably. Yeah. Right. I mean, if that happens that way,
it'll be interesting to see. That's actually a really good question because
it's hard to say without seeing training camp though, because generally the things shake themselves out pretty noticeably. I think guys that are clearly ready or earn your spot. Maybe a guy that doesn't earn a spot, but. And then things quickly change after that. The guy shits the bed, and the other guy's playing well. You've seen that before, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We will see. Good question.
Great question.
Yeah. And that's a wrap, Nast.
That's it.
126.
Well, I wonder where you'll disappear to now.
Well, back to Burning Man.
Men's League. Men's League Sunday, don't forget.
Yes.
Game Sunday. Don't forget.
All right. I got you.
You be there, right?
You're
saying it right now? Yeah. We'll need you bailing.
No pressure.
Okay, don't be giving away injury reports either like you normally do.
It's upper body.
Back's a little stiff. What?
Yeah.
Can't do that.
I can't do that.
Anyway.
Well, that's a wrap. Until next week for 127. Appreciate you all listening. Subscribe. Check us out. And we will see you next week. Stay safe, knuckleheads.
See ya.